All right. So today the session starts for the topic which we had to complete of our third chapter, which was accumulating totals for a group of data. Now you know that this chapter is all about summarizing data, where you got introduced to how one can create an accumulating total for your data, where you got introduced to retain statement, how retain statement works. It's a compiled time statement. You can provide an initial value with retain. Then how assignment statement is written if you want to have a summation to be done. And at the same time, an alternate with sum function in your sum assignment statement. You also got introduced to a sum statement where you was creating a new variable where it was just as an variable plus your another variable which you are looking into its calculation, correct? So that single statement was performing or give or satisfying all our requirements of retaining, providing an initial value, performing the sum and ignoring missing values, correct? Now same concept, but we'll see how one can create the data in groups. So before moving here, we had the inputs or queries which Nilima was facing with challenge for our previous topic. So the topic here itself is telling creating accumulating total by month. So in this table, you have to create an accumulating total, which is this within every month of your data, you should get this accumulating total. That means if it is Jan, so at the end of Jan, it should give you an accumulating total for Jan. Then if it is Feb, so it should give you accumulating total for the month of Feb. So to get this type of requirement, this is what we are going to learn here with our new topic with accumulating totals for a group of data. Okay, so this topic will give you an answer for your challenge exercise for your previous topic. All right, Nilima? Okay, so moving ahead, accumulating totals for a group of data. The objective here will define first dot and last dot processing. We'll calculate an accumulating total for groups of data. We'll use a subsetting if statement to output selected observation. So look at this scenario. So what you could see in this scenario is you have a table which is orient dot special sals. You have to create a table called department sals. Now, if you have observed this table carefully, you have the salaries for every individual employee as a value. So that means it's a detailed table where you find that you have an employee with its employee ID, its salary, which department he works for. Same goes. So this is a detailed salary for employee representing from its respective department and its employee ID. So what is the expected result is you want to calculate what is the total salary paid within every department. So you have department column, you have employees, you have IDs. At the end, what is required? You need the total salaries for every department in earning. So first and foremost, what would be the step if you want this type of output for only department and total salary? Any idea? Yes, if I want the output only on department. Any idea first? Looking at the report. Now don't think about total sal. Okay, department sal. Just think about department. Any idea? If I want to see the result via in the form of department or as per
Sorting
department.
variable.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So you'll have to first sort your data on departments. Correct? Okay, so technically moving on this, let's understand the same thing provided as a business scenario in words. So it's telling the salary variable represents the portion of the employee's salary allocated to a project. An analyst would like to create a new data set and listing report that has the salary totals for each department. That what is this? So very first thing is we need to sort your input table on the basis of department. So that's what here you have the table which is sorted as per departments. So it's by default in alphabetic order. So all the admin department values stacked together, it got grouped. Then all engineering department has got stacked together, and accordingly finance and so on. So it's just a partial output or just an example for us shown on the slide. So this is what is. So at the end, what is required? We want within admin the total of salary. Correct? This is what required. See, admin total, engineering total salary, you finance total sales, human resource total sales, sales total salary. That is department salary. So depending on number of employees, your total salary will be calculated. Correct? So how to achieve this? So first and foremost is you need to sort your data by department, which you have already got now. Now within this department, you want this total salary. So this is what is expected. Correct? So within admin, this is the total at the end. So you want admin and its total, engineering and its total, finance and its total. So summarize the observations by department groups. Hence, very first thing you sorted your data. Okay. Then second step is you are going to create your new data set of department. Of course, this is with respect to which columns you want to keep for your new data set. Input data set. Now, which data set you are writing as an input source? The one which you have sorted. Remember, do not disturb original data set. Correct? The new data set which has to be created by or has to be created as per groups. Okay, so the input data has to be processed via grouping. Hence, you write this by a statement by department. Why? Because your data is already sorted by department and you have to process this input data within groups. Hence, which group of values? Within the values of department which is got sorted. All right. So this is why you are going to write your by statement in data step where your input data will be processed by groups. Okay. So always make a note. Whenever we write a by statement within your data step, there are always two temporary variables created into PDB. It's a logical understanding that in PDB we'll be getting two by variables if we write by statement in data step. So those by variables are first dot by variable, last dot by variable. So this first dot by variable means the variable which you have written in your by statement in your data step. So it will be first dot department, first dot or last dot department. So it's a default behavior of SAS that whenever we use a by statement in your data step, it always creates two temporary variables, first dot department, last dot department. By variable means the variable which you have written in a by statement in your data step. All right. So what does this first dot and last dot actually does? So first dot and last dot always has a flag value. That means either 0 or 1. It's a Boolean expression. When it is the first observation within the group of your value, that time the first dot department value will be 1. Okay, so for example, within this admin group of values, this first observation, when SAS is processing your data, you know SAS processes the data sequentially from top to bottom. So when this value is read, so SAS looks is the group of value of department. So within this group, this current value of your department is the first value. Hence, its first dot department value will 1. Okay, so when it looks into your data ahead, it finds it is followed with another value. Hence, this value is not the last observation within this group of value. Hence, its last dot department is 0. All right, up till here, is the concept clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Priyanka, Swarupa.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Okay, fine. Now moving ahead, when SAS comes to this observation, now this observation of admin within this group of department of admin is not the first observation nor the last observation. Hence its first dot department and last dot department value is 0. All right. Then when SAS moves ahead and looks up into this value, it reads this value, so it finds it's the last observation within this department of admin group of observation, but it's not the first observation. Hence, its first dot department within admin is 0, but because it's the last observation within admin, it is telling its last dot department value is 1. Okay, so now just understand this concept now, how we are going to use it, how it is benefit for you, and how it will process your data, that we'll see later. But at this point, just understand this concept that whenever you'll be writing a by statement in your data set, always make a note that by default in PDB, there are two temporary variables created, which are first dot by variable and last dot by variable. Okay, so those are temporary. That means those are created at the time of compilation. Those are there while execution. But when your data is processed and it has been written or it's creating your new data set, the new data set will not have these two variables in your output data. Why? Because those are temporarily created in PDB, not coming from your input data source. All right. Okay. Now, looking ahead for this observation of engineering, again, within the group of engineering values of department, this engineering is the first observation, hence its first dot department is 0. But this observation at the same time is not the last observation for the value of engineering in department, hence its last dot department is 0. So, if you've understood this concept, what would be its first dot and last dot for this engineering in this table?
1, 1.
Okay. Priyanka and Swarupa agreed.
The first dot department will be 1, but in that group, the last dot department will be 0.
Okay. Priyanka, do you agree?
Why would the last department be 0?
It is only 1, so it will be 1, 1. Wow.
For the engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Looking at engineering value, do you have any further engineering value for this group of engineering?
No.
Then what would be its value absolutely?
1.
The last one will be 0. The first one will 1.
Both, it is the first department and it is the last department as well. So it has to be 1, 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Agreed
Yeah,
now, Swarupa and Priyanka?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So what Nilima is telling that this is the single observation for this value engineering. There is no further value of engineering. Hence, though it's single, so it is going to be its first dot value also 1 and last dot value also 1. Understood now?
Yeah.
Priyanka?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what it's done. Okay. Now how we are going to use this in our programming to process your data in groups, okay, and to calculate the total salary within groups. So what must happen when? So there is a 3-step process for using your data step to summarize group data. First is what you have to do within your data step is Set the accumulating variable to 0 at the start of each by group. So before moving into this, what I will do is I'll show you this code by writing it itself. So which data we have? Orient dot special sals. Okay. What must happen? Let's start the studio. I hope you people have connected to your studio, and at the same time you have created your library also. Few seconds. Once our studio starts, I'll show you how to write it or what that slide was actually explaining.
Ashwini, I was okay.
Yes.
No,
Yeah, tell me.
I was curious to ask one thing. Since this SAS studio is online, if you enter any suppose data set in that, does it become a part of the library freely available to anybody?
No, it's only your account, correct? It's your account. You are signing it because you have created your profile and you are logging it through your profile, right? So that's what it comes here, now. So I'm signing in as Ashwini, my name. So it is only for me. It won't be generalized.
Okay. I was just checking because all the data which we have is the easily available online data, right? Which is available for SAS Studio, right? So in our account, if we add something that will not be like there are sometimes that it generally uploaded. No, right?
No,
Okay.
it is only for your account.
Okay. Wanted to just got it.
Okay, so the special SALs. But before working on the special SALs, a prerequisite is your data has to be sorted. Sort data equal to Orion dot special SALs
Every time this is missing.
out equal to, suppose I give the name as sort SALs. Priyanka, please keep yourself on here. So with this table, we are going to sort it by department, right? So before working on this, let's see your input data, special SALs. Special salaries. So if you see, there are 3 columns: employee ID, salary, department. So you have department. Okay, so this is where we are going to sort your data by. Column name is DEPT. Okay. First, sort your data. See to it, you are going to use the sorted data. So see, all the values in this work.sort data is now sorted as per department. So all admin values have stacked together are grouped. Okay. Same goes with engineering. All engineering are grouped together. Finance are grouped. Human resource and sales. So total there are 39 observations with 3 rows. Now coming to our program, let's use this sorted data in our program. Of course, it's not from your Orion library because currently it is a temporary data set saved in work. Now you have to process by department. Now what must happen when? So that's what the slide was telling, that when you are writing your data step, when you are grouping it into as per your data processing in groups, first step is you should initialize. What you should initialize? that it's telling set the accumulating variable to 0 at the start of each by group. So what we are going to do is, because we have to calculate the department sal, which is going to be the total sal within the departments, within this, first thing you have to tell SAS, start processing your data within the groups of your department values. Hence, you are giving the condition telling if it is first dot department, that means when your data value is going to be as within this department of your values of admin. So when it is the first observation of this admin value, then it should start processing your data within the group of admin to calculate its total. Hence, we are going to tell when it is first dot department, then we have to create a new variable which is going to be your department sal, and this has to be accumulated to 0. Correct? Because it's the new variable which we are going to create, and this variable has to be calculated within the group of your values. At initial phase, you know, the new variable has to be provided at initial value. Hence, you are giving it as 0. Okay, so we'll be performing it in a way where first you are accumulating it to be set as 0 within that group. Then you have to start accumulating, that is increment your accumulating variable with sum. Hence, what you will be doing is, because for this single condition, you are going to write multiple statement, hence you use then do. Now you are telling new variable has to be accumulating within every group as 0, and this has to keep on accumulating for your salary variable, correct? So is it the same column as salary? Yes. So it has to keep on calculating its accumulating total. Hence you use this sum statement, correct? And then what is the third statement? That it's telling the third step, what you have to follow is you have to write it to your output data set, when it should write only the last observation of each by group. Hence, now within each group, it is going to calculate its department salary, but to calculate within each group, your first value of your new variable has to initialize with 0, then it should increment, and then it should write to your output data when it is only the last observation of that department, correct? So this is where it will group your values within department, that is, if within admin the whole observation whatever it is till, suppose whatever, where is the last observation, 15, so till 15 observation it will first initialize new variable within this group as 0. Then because it's the first observation, this salary value will be as it is. But when it comes to the second observation, it is not first, not last. Hence, its first dot last dot will be 0. So the previous salary plus this salary it will accumulate. So like this, it will keep on calculating till 15th observation. So whatever the total is, so if is it the last observation? Yes, then that total has to be calculated and written to your output. And hence, you stop your data step processing.
Shouldn't we keep
Okay.
the last department as 1?
We don't keep it. SAS is doing it as per the data observation. So it's like, it is equivalent if I write it like this. It's like you're telling first dot department is 0. And if it is last dot department, that means it should stop accumulating this variable only when it is within the group. So when it is the last observation, that means it should start calculating accumulating variable when it is first observation, keep on accumulating this salary, calculate it, and when it is total, it should stop calculating the total for this group of value when it is last dot department, which is admin. Okay, that's
So
what
it is
it's telling.
self-understood by the SAS.
Yes, it's because we are giving this logic now.
I think here the first department is 0, right? You have written 1 The code.
Yeah, so this is what it's telling because it is within the group. So I'll show you how it works, okay? So when I execute this data step, I have some syntax error, let me check.
So this, if
I
it's
did
not like there is no then in if statement.
we have written no?
No,
If
no, the
this,
last one.
then do, so I did not write end.
And yeah.
No, this
This is a different kind of if statement.
it's called as subsetting if statement. Sorry, it should be written before this. It's called as subsetting if statement. Okay, the last one. So see, we at the end we are getting only department and its total salary. Only department, its total salary. Only department, total salary. Got it? So your data is summarized where you find it's reading total 39 rows, but it is summarized only with 5 observations. Why? Because you have only 5 departments. So what it is doing, it start processing when it is the first observation within the group. It will calculate your new variable start, but at initial way, because it's a new variable in your PDV, it should initialize to 0. Then it should keep on accumulating. Okay. So this is for this condition. Okay. And hence at the end, you're telling this subsetting. Subsetting is like your where you are only selecting with this criteria. Okay. It's subsetting if it's not a conditional if. So what are you telling? That it should write the observation to output data only if it is the last department value as 1. So hence the output which you are getting is for department. When it is calculating and accumulating total, it should write only the last observation for that admin, which is accumulating total. Now, when you look into your log, you just see a data step and it's giving you the note about new data set has been created. But what if you want to see how it is creating this all into PDV and how your PDV looks at the back end in the memory, we can use a statement called as put log, and you can write, suppose you want to see this variables as first dot department. Okay, so you write this variable equal to, and you want to see the variable as last dot department. I'm just trying to give you this example. Okay, otherwise the best thing is if you want to see all the contents of PDV, simply write put log underscore all underscore. So it will show your PDV contents into log and how at every iteration the PDV is getting processed. Okay. So now when this has been processed, you check your log to see what is your log given. So this is the first content of your PDV. So there were 14 rows for your admin department. So it's telling you underscore n underscore is 14. Now what is underscore n underscore? I'll explain you, but at this time just look at here. So your salaries is been calculated and at the end it is been written to your output data. Okay, it's getting incremented. So when it is the first value of salary, it's showing the contents, it's processing within the group. So see your values, it's telling when it is the last observation of department. So before moving into this, I won't give this. Let's check so that you'll come to know what I'm trying to tell you. So put log is a statement to see the contents of your PDV and at the back end how SAS is processing. So this is what you get the information. So this is the PDV content. So this is the first observation. Now what does this underscore n underscore 0 and underscore n underscore means? That whenever your SAS step starts processing, you know when your input data set first row is written to your PDV, your data step will process that value throughout the cycle of data step. Hence, that becomes the first cycle of your data step, correct? So same thing here. underscore n underscore indicate it is the number of cycles of your data step getting iterated, or you can say it's the number of your data step iteration. So because it's the first row of observation where your data step from input data source is iterating or it's processing, this is the first cycle of data step, hence underscore n underscore is 1. So depending on how many observations your input data set is processing, so for every observation your data step is been processing. Do you agree with this? I hope you know this, correct?
Yes.
Right. So because in your input data we have 39 observations, you know your data step will process 39 times. Hence, this is what it's telling. Number of iteration is, this is first observation, the value is 1. So this is the second observation when processed for your data step cycle. The value for underscore n underscore, which is the iteration cycle count of data step, it's 2. So because it's processing 39 observations, your data step is processing 39 times. Hence, this is the count of your data step iteration cycle, which is giving you the value. Got it? So it's a temporary variable. By default, every time it is created in PDV, because it's temporary, it's not written to output data set default. Same goes with underscore error underscore. So this underscore error underscore value currently is 0. It always has a Boolean expression 0 or 1. That means currently the word itself is telling error. That means your data step does not have any error. Hence its value is 0. In case if it has error, the value is going to be 1. It's not that it has number of errors. It's just telling you the pointer, or it is the logic value as true or false. So is currently your data step having any error? So it's false, hence the value is 0. But in case if there was an error, it should be true. That means the value is 1. So like for example, over here, in case if earlier, if you remember, I forgot to write this end. So now when I process this data step, you know I'm getting this error. So when I check my log, okay, so this is the error, which is because this syntax error is telling there was one unlocked or unclosed do block. Why? Because we have used our code which was starting with then do, correct? And because it's the do statement, it is the group of statements processing for this single condition. Hence, it has to be end with end. Okay, now for example, if I have some logic which is not correct, so for example, it's about the logic, okay? So logic, let me check whether it's good. So it's expecting an variable. But fine, currently it's the syntax error. But when you have logical error in your data, that time your error value becomes 1 because it's having an error. So that will show you that it is having an error when it is having error. But currently your program does not have any error. Hence your log shows the PDV content for error value is 0. Okay, so that's what it was shown. So put log is a statement which helps a analyst to debug your program. All right. So this is what you see. So when you write put log statement as underscore all underscore, it is an instructions to SAS that show all the contents of your PDV for all the variables. Okay. So this is what, see, so your first value of your salary for first group of value for admin is 27,000. Okay. So this is what, now it's not, it's showing its department value is 0. See, admin value, because it's the first value within department, your value of admin is last observation value is 0. So this value is the first value, hence its first dot department is 1 and its last dot department is 0. Getting it? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So the
Then
observation number 14 has to be last department as 1.
yes, so when you scroll down, you find now this observation of admin is not first, not last, because it's the second observation. Hence, its first dot department, last dot department is 0. Agreed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving ahead, when it comes to the 14th observation, so this department value of admin is not the first observation, hence its first dot department is 0. But because it's the last observation, its last dot department is 1. Got it? Now see, the values are not getting calculated or it's not getting accumulated. Correct? Why? Because every time your data step is been processing, your new variable is getting initialized, but its value are not getting retained. So you know you have to make use of a retain statement. Understood? Why? Because if you have observed this value, see the department values, it's showing you the same, which is on the first iteration. Is this value getting accumulated? It should give you 47,000, correct? For the second row. Agreed?
Yes.
But
But
we
it's
have
not
given,
going.
we have given the sum statement, right?
We
So
are giving, but remember in PDV, because this is the new variable, every time your data step is been initialized or it's processing in PDV, your new variable gets initialized to missing. Remember? Because it's a new variable. So the value of the previous iteration is not getting retained in your PDV. Agreed?
yeah. Yeah.
That is why you have to write department sal has to get retained. And within every group, it should initialize first value to 0. Okay, so that's what it will process like this now. So when you check your log, get this values calculating. Then it's going the same. Let's see, we'll see it, okay? This is what it is giving me. Within engineering also, that first dot, last dot. See this value within engineering. Its first value, but its last value is department. Okay, it's 0. Why? Because it's not the last observation for this engineering. Same goes
But it's
for
not
further.
accumulating, right?
Yeah, we'll see that accumulating, but understand this. See, engineering department value, this is the second observation, hence its first dot, last dot is 0. Moving ahead, this engineering is last observation, but its first dot is going to be 0 because it's not the first observation, but its last dot is 1. Okay, so why it's not getting accumulated, though we have provided its retained department as well. Is this spell correct? Is your logic anywhere missing? Okay, so let's check on slides, okay, in case your logic is missing somewhere. Okay, so see, first step, initialize your accumulating variable to 0. The condition is considered true when first dot department value is 1. Why? Because we have to process your data within the group of your department, correct? By department, last dot department. Oh, let's check the every statements. So this we initialize to 0, then you are incrementing it. Okay, so this is what it's doing. So within admin, So it's calculating its accumulating total, and we want only the last observation to be written for every department which they have highlighted. Hence, the output has to be written in such a way that it should select only the last observation. Hence, you write if last of department. Right? So let me check. Is this currently required? No. So it's okay. So why it was doing it? It's because maybe I was writing a den group. So this condition is only related to your first department value. Okay, that's why it was not accumulating it correctly. So let me check. Instead of writing then do, we simply write a condition to start processing. So I have some error
We have
related
to
my
remove end
end.
also.
Yes, yes, yes. So yes, see now. So our logic was not correct while processing your data. Now we are getting only how many departments you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So only 5 rows. Why? Because at the end we have written if last dot department. So how the logic of your program works? Process your data in groups, your input data. So when it is the first observation of your department, then set the accumulating variable to 0. Within department, keep on incrementing, and within the department value, if it is last, then it should output. So that's what it's doing. It's accumulating and it's writing when it is last observation. So it's giving you only the last value in your PDV. It's showing us currently it's this, but and it's being the last observation and it's accumulating total department is so much. So this was at the time when your 14th observation of admin was been processing. Because of last dot department, it's showing you only the last value of the group of admin. Got it? Same goes for engineering, same goes for finance, same goes for human resource and sales. Now, engineering last observation is in your observation number 20. Okay, hence at the 20th iteration of your data step, this is the last observation for engineering. So it is showing you this. Same goes for finance. All right, and the result which we say is you get the accumulating total. Understood now? So this should be your steps. First dot department is 1. Then it should set within every department your variable value which is accumulating should be 0. Then it should keep on incrementing, and within that group, when it is the last observation, it should write to output. Okay. So this put log is the statement which you get introduced where you see the contents of PDV, where underscore all underscore indicates you're seeing all the contents of your PDV value. But in case if you want to specify or specifically see only for some variables, you can always write it in this form. Okay. Now, when you execute your data step and you are focusing to check only the contents of PDV for specific variable, you can write that with put log statement only with those variables name with equal to value. So the values will see like this. All right. Got it now? So in case if you want to see only specific variable contents of PDV, you can write put log your first dot department equal to last dot department equal to. So it will give you for every iteration the values. So if you want to see for which iteration cycle, so you can also include a variable telling underscore and underscore equal. So this will tell you at every iteration contents of that variable from your PDV into log. So this put log statement helps the analyst to debug the data processing or errors during your data step has been executed. Understood? Got it now how put log works and how you can write the steps to process your data in groups?
Yeah. Aren't we giving more than one condition in the first if statement?
No, it's like if this is the thing, only then set your department value as 0, because we are already telling within the group of department is 1. So it's not on this you are creating multiple variable, correct? So on this condition, you're not creating multiple variable because this is an independent variable which is going to get executed. So it's only telling here that when the condition is, when it is the first observation, then only it should set it as 0, and it should keep on accumulating, and it should write only when it is last. That's it.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so this is equivalent even if you do not write it in this way. So if I remove this, so it is understood by SAS that if it is first dot department, that means it is said that if it is first dot department value equal to 1 and it is last dot department value equal to 1. So it's equivalent. If you are not using this, you are just telling if first dot department, that means it is equivalent to first dot department value as 1. So it's still processing and it will give you the output. See, no errors, and it is still giving you the value. So what does this mean? It's equivalent to first dot department equal to 1. So it is indirectly understood first dot department. That means it's the beginning of the observation. That is, its value is 1. And you are telling this condition if last dot department, it is equivalent telling it is the last observation of that group, which is equivalent to 1. All right. So you can minimize your coding by simply writing like this.
And it will be true for even there is only one observation in that group, right? Because
Yes. Yeah, because one observation indicates first dot equal to 1 and last dot equal to 1. Correct? Because it's the single observation, hence it's both last value and first value is going to be 1.
yeah.
All right. So this was about your data step processing in groups. Okay, so just answer this poll. What must happen in data step to summarize data by groups? Circle all that apply.
All of them.
All of them. Okay.
I think the first step is not required in the data step. It is in the prox sort step, right?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Priyanka, do you agree with Nilima or with Swarupa?
I think Nilima said the
Because
like
initially
yeah,
we have to sort
B,
Absolutely.
C, D.
Absolutely correct. What must happen in data step to summarize your data by groups? So the question is with data step. So as very rightly Nilima said, that sorting of your input data is pre-sorted. It is done in proc sort, not in your data step. Hence, A is not a valid statement for this particular criteria. So choice A does not apply because sorting is done with proc sort, not in your data step. Absolutely correct. Okay, so before moving with this scenario, I would ask you to work on this highlighted part. Go ahead.
Ashwini, I think you're on mute.
I'm so sorry. All right. Now, looking ahead with the next scenario, the business scenario here is each employee listed in Orion.project SAM is assigned to a special project. A business analyst would like to see the salary totals from each department for each special project. Now you have another scenario where every employee from a department is assigned to a specific project. You want to create an accumulating total salary per employee with special projects and a department. Observe it carefully, but you also have in your data employees which are from different department but assigned to same projects. Okay, and what they want is they want to create, or you have this employee data which is of project SALs, which is assigned to a special project. So it's telling a business analyst would like to see the salary totals from each department for each special project. But at the same time, in your data, you have a situation where employee with same projects coming from different departments. Okay, now this is the scenario. But you have to have the accumulating total salary within every department. So this is what is expected, and at the same time, number of people will assign for that particular project. Just count of number of people for that particular project. Now see, this is the project admin total salary, same department but different project and number of people and their salary. Department is different, project is same, total salary, number of people. Project is same, which is EZ, but now department is different, number of salary, the number of people working. Same project, again a new department, total sal, number of people working. New project, same department admin, number of salary and number of people in that department. So this is now it's telling the desired output. Create a new data set called as pdsals, that is project department sals, that shows the number of employees and salary totals from each department for each project. Understood what is expected and understood your input table. Yeah. Okay, just understand the situation, the scenario, and this is what is expected. So this is what is required by the business people, but they are coming to us that can you please generate a report like this? Okay, because we are the data analysis for their project or for their scenario. So if you want to give this to them, how will you process it? Of course, now you have two variables on which your data has to be sorted, department and project. So that will be your first step, that sort your data by project, by department. So this is similar to the previous business scenario, except that now the data must be sorted by multiple by variables, which is project and department. Now, why project and department? It's because what they are telling is you should create this report that shows number of employees and total salaries from each department for each project. So let's first sort your data within project, department. Getting it now? Understood?
Yeah.
Okay. So sorting your data by project and department. So primary variable is project, secondary variable is department. I hope you remember your proc-sort concept. When you write multiple variables in a by statement, the variable which is written first is your primary variable. Department is your secondary variable. So when you are asking SAS to process your data by project, so you know very well, it will first sort it within project, and within the value of project, your department values are being sorted. Am I
Yes.
audible? Okay, so as per your proc sort, within project, it will sort your data for department, correct? So hence it acts as a secondary variable. This is a primary variable. So on sorting, you see all projects values are stacked together. Within projects, department value. Within project, department values. All right, so at the end, we want department, or we want project, department, total number of employees and total salaries as per department. As per department. Okay, because they're telling shows the number of employees and total salaries for each department, for each project. Though you are going to sort your data by project and department, but while processing, you should process via first dot as department. So that's what in your data step. Of course, you are writing this statements and your by statement. Now understand, when you are writing in your data step a by statement, you know every by variable in data step, it will create first dot, last dot. Now here in a by statement, you have two variables. So for each variable, it will create first dot, last dot. So for project, first dot project, last dot project. For department, first dot department, last dot department, respectively. So this is what it's telling. So you have sorted your data by project and department. Hence, first it will arrange the values for project, and within project, department. Now, because in your data step, you have written by statement for two variables. So every variable in your by statement of data step will create its first dot and last dot. So first dot project, last dot project, first dot department, last dot department. So when you have this multiple variables in your by statement with your data step, let's see how SAS takes its first dot and last dot values. Now looking into this, your first dot project value is going to be 1. Why? Because within project, this value is first, hence it's going to be 1. Is this value a last observation for project? No, correct? Hence, its last dot project is 0. All fine. When you have another variable, it will check for admin. Is this admin the first observation? Yes. Hence, its first dot department is 1. Looking ahead of admin, it is not the last observation. Hence, its last dot department is 0. Agreed with this?
Yes.
Okay. Swarupa, Priyanka?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's come to this observation. Now within project, A is not the first, not last. Hence its first dot and last dot project is 0. Coming to admin, it is again not the first observation, nor the last observation of department. Hence its first dot department and last dot department respectively is 0. Now look at here. A is the last observation for project, but it's not first, hence its first dot project is 0. But because it's the last observation within project, its last dot project is 1. C for admin, it's not the first value of department, hence its first dot department is 0. Ideally, this is the not last observation within admin, but it's showing you its last dot department is 1. Now, why this is happening?
I think it is sorting out. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's because as we know that project is a primary variable. Okay, so this primary variable value will always force your secondary variable value when it is the last observation for that particular value. So because your project is the last value within this value of your project, it forces your secondary variable to take its value of last dot department also 1. All right, always keep in mind, Whenever it is first or last observation of your secondary variable, first variable, your first secondary variable of first dot and last dot will always force your secondary variable to take its value. All right, keep this in your mind. When
Can you
have
repeat the
multiple, yeah, one minute, let me complete. When you have multiple variables in your by statement, like this scenario, your primary variable will always force your secondary variable to take its value, either its first observation or the last observation. All fine. Now in this case, this is the last observation within this group of project. Hence, it's forcing your secondary variable value to take its value, which is last dot department to be 1. Ideally, it's not the last observation, correct? It should take it as 0. But because your primary value is last, it forcing this department value to take it as 1. All fine now?
Yeah.
Priyanka,
Yes.
Swarupa?
Yes, got it.
Okay. Now look at the next value. Now this is the first, but this is not first. Now because it's the primary variable, it's forcing your first dot department to take it as 1. So though it is the first observation for project, its first dot project is 1. So admin is not the first observation within this department. Ideally, admin first dot value should be 0, correct? But it's showing you 1. Why? Because of your primary value. So because this B is the first observation of this group, it's the primary variable value. It is forcing your secondary variable value to take this admin as its value, as first dot department as its project. Hence, its first dot value is 1. All right.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So looking ahead, this is not the last observation of project. Hence, its last dot project is 0. But this is the last observation, so it's not doing vice versa. It's not affecting your primary value. So though it is last, it will keep its last dot department as 1 because it's the last observation within this group. So your primary variable is always forcing your secondary variable to take its value in either scenario of first dot or last dot, if it is the value which is forcing going to have this secondary variable. Okay. Now, look at this observation. Now, B is not at all the first, not last value. Hence, its first dot project, last dot project is 0. But engineering is the first observation of this value of engineering group of values. Hence, its first dot department is 1, but it's not the last. Hence, its last dot department is 0. Understood now? Observe it carefully.
Yes.
Fine? Priyanka, Swarupa?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now look at here. What would be its respective first dot, last dot for project and department?
For project, it will be 1.
Okay.
For department, it will automatically be 1. Sorry, the first department will be 0 and the last project will be 1, 1.
No, tell me first what will be the value for project, first dot project.
Zero.
0.
0, because it's the last observation, correct?
Yeah.
What would be its last, first, first
0.
dot value here? 0, because it's
0.
not the first observation either which ways for both. First dot for both values are 0. But this is the last observation.
One.
Hence,
So
what
1,
will be its
1.
value? 1.
One.
So this
And
will
last
force
dip-
this value.
So 1.
To be
Yeah.
1.
Yes, because it will force this value of department to take its last dot value as 1. Correct? Agreed, Swarupa?
Yes.
So see, though it's not the first value of project is 0. Of course, this is also not the first value of department, it's 0. But because it's the where
One more.
we were here only, right?
One more down.
Yeah. So this was your 4. So because it's the last observation, its last dot project is 1. Because it's a primary variable, it will force your secondary variable to take its value as last dot 1. Got it? Ideally, it's not the last observation, but because a primary variable is last value, it is forcing you to take it as 1 for Department of Engineering. All right? Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is what it's summarizing your concept. So when you use more than one variable in your by statement, last dot variable value is 1 for primary. It forces your secondary variable also for its last dot variable to be 1 in this scenario.
So
And
it
same goes
only
with
process the last value, right? Not the first one. Only
no,
the.
no, no. We saw now for first also it was forcing your see. We saw right. See,
Yeah.
first dot project is 1. It's forcing admin to take its first dot department is 1.
Okay. Yeah.
So this slide was summarizing for this example. For this example.
Yeah.
All right. But most of the time, as I said, you make a note whenever your first variable of your multiple by statement is first or last, it forces its secondary variable to take its value. First as well as last. Your primary variable will force your secondary variable to take its value. All fine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now how you will be doing the same in your data step now. Of course, this all is there. You have written the same order of your variable as your data was sorted by project and department, but you want to calculate the salary with by department. Why? Because if you remember this business scenario, create a new data set pdsal that shows the number of employees and salary totals for each department for each project. Though you have sorted as project and department, but you want to process via department, correct? Hence, you are writing your data step with first dot department is the state. So what you give? If first dot department, then do your department salary to 0. Now, because for this condition, now you have multiple statement, you are using then do. Now, it's not the same like your earlier scenario, which I was trying with then do, correct? Now, because of this condition, single condition, on this condition only you have to create two statements or two output result. Hence, you are writing then do. Because on this condition, you are going to create a new variable department sal as 0. And when it is the first department only, it should create a new variable employee number. And this employee number of employees also is going to initialize to 0 end. Then you will increment your department sal and increment number of employees. And you are going to select only the last observation within the department. Look at the code carefully.
So here two accumulating variables.
Yes, because as per the requirement, we also wanted the number of employees, right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So are we good on this code, Priyanka and Swarupa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hence, out of 39 observations, now you have number of observations as 4. And you get this within a project, department, total salaries, number of. For this project, you have this department, salary, number of employees. Same project, but the department, number of employees and its total salary. Okay, so let's do this demo. So this demo is P2, D03, D05. So P203, D05, it's lesson 3, demonstration 05. Let's open this demo. It's lesson 3, D05. Code. Yes, I have. So this is all. Okay, so what's your error? So just share your screen. So did you sort your data earlier? Show me your code. So without sorting, how you can write in your statement pdsals? So did you submit it proc sort? Scroll up. Scroll up. Yes.
So I ran it.
There.
I did run it.
No, that means you did not submitted your proc sort. Okay, so can you just stop sharing, please? I'll share my screen now. Okay, so it's first sorting your data. Read the comments also. Then they are looking into your output table. So when the data is sorted and it's written appropriate to see your sorted data. So you see your data is sorted on project, first primary variable, and then within project, see within project admin. So this is the values of project and this is admin. Accordingly, salaries. Okay. Moving next, you are processing the data. So in case if you want to see how it is processing into your SAS memory, you can see the values of all your data variable will process via put log. So put log means put into log the processing statements or your execution statements from your memory into log. So when you check your log, you will see the contents of your query. So because you have processed the data, all 39 observations are being concised to 14 rows. Hence, you will see it is processing all 39 rows, but it has been subsetting depending on your first dot last dot statements which you have given. So see, when it is first dot project, okay, so see this temporary variables, department, then it's telling first dot project, last dot project. Why first dot project and last dot project? Because within your department, it's telling the first dot project is 0, last dot project is 1. First dot project is 0, last dot project is 1. Why? Because your primary variable has forced a secondary variable to take its value. Why it's doing like this? Because if you have observed your input data, which was sorted first on project and then on department, was it the same code or sorry, same data set, which is an input data source here, the name which is sorted, project sort. So I'm opening this table, which is your sorted table. So see, it is sorting within first all projects value and within projects its department. Of your project, first project will be first dot department and first dot project both will be 1. But because you have written in your code the last dot project department, hence it is showing only the last row. So it's telling here first dot project will be 0, but last dot project is 1. So hence in the log, if you have observed, it's showing you the same thing. first dot project is 0, but its last dot project is 1. Hence, it's forcing your last dot department also to be taking 1. Why? Because it's a primary variable which is forcing your secondary variable to take its value. Understood now? In the log also it's showing you the same thing. Agreed? See? See? Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
I hope you have understood. It's the same thing what we have seen on slides. We are seeing in the back end how it is giving those values. Correct? Right?
Yeah.
So see, it's the total department SAL and see number of employees 2. Why? Because if you have seen this observation, it's within the project 2 people for this department. Correct? Now your project is how many people? So again, your project here, there is so many observations, but you have 3 departments within this project. So the values for your new report here will be 3 number of employees. It depends on department and project. Because you have processed your data by using this statement telling if it is first dot department. Therefore, the result which we see for this output for second observation, it will work to subset your data within department. And that is why the output result which we see here. So for department, 3 people, but see the project, it's still moving, but we have 3 people from department in the same project. Correct? Because your result is when you were sorting, though there is number of people in this project, but for admin, there are only 3 people. Hence, 3. And it is calculating the department salaries as per department. Why? Because the statement written in your code was first dot department, last dot department. Understood the logic? Yes. Okay. So if you have done this, let's move ahead with an exercise. So open your PDF. Come to this portion of exercise of accumulating total, which is on page 3-36. Page 3-36. So let's work with level 2, which is 3-37 page number. 3-37 page number, level 2, exercise number 5. So it's telling summarizing and grouping data using data set. So your data set order quarter sum contains information about sales in a particular year for each customer separated by month. So data set order underscore quarter sum is a data which has the information about sales in a particular year for each customer separated by month. So see, this is the sale for each customer for every quarter and its month. Okay, separated by month. So same quarter, but month is different. Okay, and it's the total sale for customers. So for a given customer, there might be some months and quarters that the customer did not place an order. Remember this part. Okay. So the variable order quarter contains appropriate quarters. So these are the number of quarters. So the data set is not sorted by customer ID and quarter. It's telling not sorted. That means there is a hint Okay, for us. So create a data set named as work.quarter customers that summarizes sales based on customer and quarter. So that's why you are going to sort it by customer and quarter. The variable total sales should contain the total sales for each quarter within each customer ID value. Create variable named num underscore months that counts the total months within each quarter that the customer has an order. Print your result and format your data value for total sales with $11.2. The result should be like this. So within every quarter, that customer has placed an order, its total values, number of months. So this month column is suppressed. We may have the same customer placing order in the months, but in which quarter it's coming, so that's what it's telling us. So what you have to create a new variable which is accumulating total sales. Okay, for each quarter within each customer ID, and create a new variable number of months that counts the total months within each quarter that the customer has placed an order. So in this quarter 2, there were 2 months where this customer placed an order, and this is its total sales. So in this quarter 3, the same customer has placed the order once. Same customer, but in quarter 4, he has placed an order once. It was 1 month order placed. And for same customer, in second quarter, he placed order for 2 months. All right. So summarizing data and output conditional. So it's an optional. Optional what they're telling from this data set, which contains group of orders for US customers, optional part, which is 6th, but let's work with at least 5th level. So first and foremost, let's look into your order quarter sum data set. So this data set is in Orion library. The data set name is order quarter sum. So this is my input data, which has customer ID, quarter order, order placed in every quarter, months, and sale amount. Okay, so this is my input data, customer, orders of placed in a quarter, and which month the order was placed. So as per the scenario, you have to sort your input data. First thing is sorting. So you need to sort by which variable? Customer ID and quarter. So let's work on this. I'll go to Orion quarter sum will I give the name sort quarter sum by customer ID and quarter, right? Order quarter. So let's check your data has been sorted. Which column I have not provided correctly? Order underscore QTR customer ID. this one.
Ashwini, I will log out now, okay?
All right, no problem. All right, so this is the reference code on the screen which I have created. You can just check the screen. And this is the result as per the requirement. Total sales to each customer for each product. As per this total sales. Okay. This is the code. And I'll give you this code as a reference.
Yes, Ashwini, done.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
your result is correct as per what they have given the screenshot on your PDF. Sorry. I've also given my code to you as a reference in chat box. So it's the same
74
thing.
observations.
So in the log, yes. And if you see the result, so see for the customer number ID 5 for second quarter, total sale number of months. So is this as per this result? Customer ID 5 in second quarter. This is the same month 2. So yes. All right.
Is it 74 observations?
Yes, it's 74 observation. Same customer in third quarter. This is the total sale of $52. $52 number of months is 1. Yes, it's the same. All right.
Yeah.
Swarupa.
Yes.
So this is how you have worked on your exercise, and post this, it's the end of the topic and the lesson. All right. So with this, we'll end our day. See to it to revise the topics for your next class so that we can start our lesson number 4. All right. So now, Nilima, as you now understood how we can process your data in groups for multiple variables. So as at the beginning, you had a query to solve the previous topics exercise, which was challenge. So now with this input of your new topics knowledge, try out to work on this challenge. All right.
Yeah, I'll try it.
Yes. So let's move on for your next session, which is on coming Tuesday. All right. Meanwhile, take care and good night. Have a happy sleep. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Good day, Ashwini. Bye.
Yes, thank you.